this is what the track sounds without the vocals. I will be going mainly over the breakdown, build up and the first drop. Okay, so you get the idea. The first thing are the drums. And they sound like this. This is the kick drum. Really simple. And the drums on the build up have high pass and low pass. Then the drop starts with just a kick, and the kick sounds like this. This is the sub layer. And this is top layer. You can barely hear it, but it adds some noise and character to kick drum, and together they sound like this. It's pretty snappy. I don't actually have any effects on this because the kick was resampled, but I used some compression and tube amp. This is free plugin. These both are free plugins, which I recommend, and I used them with these settings. And then I recorded the kick and resampled it here. And the top layer has only the high end and compressor with these settings, mild compressor, and they both are routed to kick mix. And the sub kick has boosted highs to give it some snap. Sounds much better with that boost. And the kick has cut on 46 Hz and some boost over there. And this cut over here is for the snare, because the snare hits on this frequency, so I want to give it some more room. Okay, let's continue with the drums. The next is the crash. And that has actually been cut to match the SUPERSAW over here, as you can hear. So it has some space. And then the hi-hats. It has two hi-hats, one main hi-hat and one with slightly lower volume. And they have some chorus to give some movement, and all the lows cut out. And then we also have these reverse crashes. And some reverb and delay on them. Then there's the snares. I just layered 3 claps and snares. and it sounds like this. And that also is affected by the filtering. And about the crash and the other instruments on the build-up, I tend to cut small slice right before the drop hits, so it has more impact. So there's this slight gap between the build-up and the kick, I mean the drop. And over here we have this clap sample. Yeah, and this little guy over here is a short fill, acoustic fill. It sounds pretty cool, I'd say. Ba-da-boom. But yeah, I think that's about the drums. Over here we have snare build-up. But not too much else. Yeah. Okay, let's continue with the instruments. The lead sounds like this. Here are the notes. Try to use quite simple lead progressions on the drops, so they are easy to remember and easy to sing along. And this lead has 3 layers, 3 silents. The first one sounds like this. I think this is the top layer. Here's the second one. And here we have detuned layer. You can try out different things, but it's pretty basic setup. So you have one high lead, one little bit lower octave, maybe octave lower lead, and then you have really detuned and panned lead at the bottom. And they all are routed to lead mix. This is the high layer. It has all the lows cut out and stereo enchanter, and that has some slight, I think it could be also maybe over here, stereo separation. But this is the second one, same EQ, and not too much going over there. And then the detuned layer that has all the highs cut out and all the lows. And that kind of backs up the lead. That's pretty much about that. If you guys want, I can do a lead tutorial. I can't go too much in detail about those leads at the moment. But then on the build-up there's piano. Pretty basic house piano. It has this layer from M1. This kind of the bass layer of the piano, and then the lead, piano lead, and Oh, I think this piano one is the support layer. It's more realistic than the M1. M1 is that stereotypic house piano, but I wanted to give it some realistic size, so I doubled it with the piano one. This free piano, I use it almost for every my track I make. For every track I make, it's really good. I tend to separate the piano melody part and the chords. I have taken out most of the lows and some of the mids and boosted highs on the chords. And same thing on the high notes. And then they both are routed to piano. And that has kickstart, which is sidechain. You can do that with any sidechain. That's pretty much the piano. And yeah, my leads and pianos are routed to effect bus reverb, and that's basic FL Studio reverb over here. So if you play the lead, that sounds like this. I use stereo engine to spread the reverb and control the volume. Also, I EQ out the lows and the highs, and I always sidechain my reverbs and apply the master effects filters on them. That makes mixing so much easier. And I often use same reverbs on all of my instruments. I modify them a little bit and just use the same reverb, so my mixes don't get too much cluttered. And here's the PLUCK. This sounds like this. Outside here. Basic chords with octave, lower bass. They are called doublets, I think. This is the patch. Only the A has been. You can copy the patch from here if you want to use this. I have automated the cutoff. And then there's the patch. I'm in bass. This is the bass. It has two layers, top layer and the sub bass. Here are the chords. This is the sub. You can barely hear it. The drop bass is here. It has only the A side. And that has been routed over here. It has EQ, took out some high-end Camel Crusher, another grade 3 blocking, vocodecs, without any effects. The bass sounds like this. Pretty weak. and then some EQ. Took out more high end and boosted at around 200 Hz. Cut around 80 Hz. I can do tutorial on the bass also later. I don't have too much time right now. Here's the sub. Single oscillator with sine wave and EQ to go out all the high end. Then producer friend of mine, Anacon, showed me this. I'll link his channel on the description. But through the Blood Overdrive, without it, the bass sounds pretty clean. But that gives some distortion on the bass. Pretty nice trick. Thanks to him for showing that. And then I have Soundgoodizer and sausage fattener with Carnage skin, and all that just boosts harmonics on the sub bass. Then I have also limited the bass pretty highly, so it's consistent. You can do a bit pretty steep limiting and compressing on your sub bass, because sub frequencies don't suffer from compression. And then I have sidechain, and another sidechain gives the bass that bouncy feeling. And they both have been routed to bass EFX, which has against Soundgoodizer and compression. Actually, it's not on at the moment, but the Soundgoodizer also does the same. You could do a slight compression like that to glue the basses together. And then I have the drop saw. That's basically a SUPERSAW. Here's the patch. This is the A side, you can pause here, and this is the B side. Also, I have automated the cutoff, and that is routed over here. It has mild compression, threshold at minus 15 decibel, and 2.5 ratio, and EQ'd out the low end and some of the high end, boosted at 7k Hz. Stereo enhancer that has 11 milliseconds left offset, and isotope imager. This basically spreads the sound. You can do it over here. It separates the audio signal. Kickstart again for the sidechain, and that's about it. So far we have covered all of these. So far we have covered all of these. And the drop also has this APREGGIO. And this is actually a preset from Silent. Here's the A side and this is the B side. And without the effects it sounds like this. I may have modified the drive or reverbs or something, but it should sound pretty similar. Has Fruity Flanger, Camel Crusher, and then I took out the low end, kickstart again for the sidechain, and took out some more of the low end, and that's about it. And these instruments like the SUPERSAW, they all have some reverb over here, like this, that has the same reverb as the SUPERSAW and PLUCK. Yeah, that makes mixing easier. Okay, what else? Then we have some white noise. That has been sidechained also. And here we have some automations. I can try to explain them really fast. Really fast. So this first is for the sidechain. It controls all Kickstart plugins. So no sidechain, and then full sidechain. Then there's master high pass. It high passes everything. It high passes everything. And then there's PLUCK high pass. I don't have high pass. I don't have the PLUCK on the build up. Stereo enhancer. This makes everything slightly more mono before the drop hits. I think it's over here. Yeah, it automates this knob. So right before the drop hits, everything goes slightly more mono, and then it returns to middle position at the drop. And snare. High pass, and also this sweep over here. I think this is reverb and on instrument effects. Yeah, it automates all instruments to reverb. So there's that reverb. And then on some instrument, I always cut out the high end or the low end from the synths and basses right before the drop. So the drop has much more energy and it hits harder because there's less things before the drop. Also there's automation on master volume. So the volume gets lower right before the drop hits, and then it returns back to normal volume. And then I have also this sub bass automation over here, so I don't have any sub bass right before the drop hits. Over here I have a slight low pass on the lead for the feel, and here's a reverse sweep. And that's about it about the drop. I hope you guys learned something. This was kinda rushed tutorial, but I can do individual videos about each individual part of this tutorial. Maybe it's drums first, or the synths. Who knows? Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more tutorials. And check out my music if you haven't. I try to upload tutorials weekly. And also new music weekly. Thanks for watching. See you next time.